Okay. The reason I'm watching this video chat because I'm also learning about my culture a little bit, my Guyanese side. You feel me? The guy, you done know. The reason I'm watching this because I'm so confused on how Indians got to Guyanese, and also I want to know how Africans got to Guyana too. Like you feel me? Like I just want to know all that because to be honest, it's crazy like how much Indians are in Guyana, how much Guyanese are in Guyana. It's crazy because my grandmother is actually black and Indian, so it's like, bro, it's crazy to me, bro. Black and Indian together, like you know what I'm saying? I gotta know my history here. So both of these is very important to me because I don't know how in the heck it we got here where black and Indian coming together. And yeah, let's just get into it. You know what I'm saying? If it's unnecessary yap sesh, skip a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
To a rich blend of cultures. But beneath the surface of this multicultural mosaic, a deep-seated tension simmers between its Afro-Guyanese and Indo-Guyanese populations. A silent yet pervasive enemy called internalized racism fuels this divide. In this video, we journey into the heart of this beautiful country, unearthing its tumultuous history, the hidden impacts of internalized racism, and the brave efforts to bridge a
And that is facts. I ain't gonna lie. They be having little Indian and black racism I be hearing about in Guyana. So, you know what I'm saying?
centuries-old divide. Join us as we explore the unseen battles and unheard stories of Guyana. Situated on the North Atlantic coast of South America, Guyana is a country of stunning natural beauty. From the
GT
vast
to the
rainforests and
bone.
majestic rivers to the vibrant city life, Guyana presents a captivating blend of influences. The nation's unique flavour comes from the fusion of Amerindian, African, Indian, Chinese, Portuguese and British culture.
Why is it that this is so crazy? No. This is so crazy because I've heard in my family that we are Portuguese, Indian. My grandfather has Chinese family members, so it's Portuguese, Indian. Grandfather has Chinese um family members and black. I heard this all of my life, bro. Not all of my life. I ain't gonna lie. I'm capping. I'm talking about like recent, like when COVID pandemic started. That's when I started hearing about it. That were Portuguese, Black, Asian, and Indian, bro. So this is crazy that they just brought that all up. That is crazy to me.
Known as the land of many waters, Guyana is the third smallest country in South America. It's the only English-speaking nation on the continent and shares borders with Brazil, Venezuela and Suriname. Now let's delve deeper into its cultural tapestry. Despite being geographically located in South America, politically and culturally, Guyana aligns more with the Caribbean countries. It is a member of several international organizations.
Okay, let me get on that too. Is Guyana Caribbean or not? Because we're technically all right. No. I want to make it. I want to just think because like we put ourselves in this Caribbean category. I think we're technically are, but really and truly we're not in the Caribbean. So people who be saying we're not Caribbean aren't wrong. I know who'll be coming after them, but they aren't wrong. We might be in the Caribbean organizations, or I think I'm just assuming, but we aren't actually in the Caribbean, if I'm not mistaken.
Such as the United Nations, the Caribbean Community, the Commonwealth of Nations, and the Non-Aligned Movement. Now, let's delve deeper into its cultural tapestry. When it comes to ethnic composition, Guyana is primarily divided between two major groups, the Indo-Guyanese and the Afro-Guyanese. The Indo-Guyanese, making up around 40% of the population, are descendants of indentured labourers brought from India in the 19th century. The Afro-Guyanese, comprising around 30% of the population, trace their lineage back to the African slaves brought by the British. These two groups have been cohabiting in this nation for centuries, building communities side by side, sharing the same markets, schools and public spaces. Yet their shared history is far from harmonious, fraught with discord and division that traces back to the time of their ancestors, a silent, pervasive enemy we know as internalized racism. The roots of Guyana's ethnic tensions run deep, back to the era of colonial rule. The Afro-Guyanese story begins in the early 17th century with the Atlantic slave trade. African men, women and children were forcibly brought to the New World by European colonizers, primarily the Dutch and later the British. In Guyana, these African slaves were made to work on sugar plantations under brutal conditions, laying the foundation for the Afro-Guyanese community.
Oh, okay. I just got educated for real. I didn't know they came from the Atlantic slave trade. So basically, it's all one group of people who came from Africa. Some got put in America, some got put in Guyana. In Guyana, they were doing sugar. In North America, they were doing cotton. So okay, heard you.
In 1834, a new chapter began. Slavery was abolished in all British colonies, with full emancipation coming into effect in Guyana on August 1st, 1838, following a transitional period called apprenticeship. This day is still celebrated as Emancipation Day in Guyana. The abolition of
That's a
slavery in
fact.
1838 left the plantations severely understaffed, leading the British to look elsewhere for labour. Their gaze turned to India. As we move from the abolition of slavery in 1838, we enter a new era, marked by a system barely distinguishable from the shackles of servitude it was meant to replace, the indentured labour system. Indians, mostly from the modern-day states of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, were recruited as indentured labourers. Enticed by Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, were recruited.
Okay, I gotta remember this because when I talk to one of my Indian family friends, I'm gonna ask him if he know these locations. Hold on, you feel me? Hold on, chat.
Indians, mostly from the modern-day states of Bihar and
Uttar Pradesh and Bihar.
labour system. Indians, mostly from the modern-day states of
Okay,
Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, were recruited as indentured labourers. Enticed by promises of a better life, they signed contracts they barely understood and undertook a perilous journey across the seas. Upon reaching Guyana, the reality that met these immigrants was far from the rosy picture painted by the recruiters. They found themselves contracted for up to 5 years of rigorous labour on sugar plantations, living in cramped quarters, and paid pitiful wages. Over the next 80 years, around 238,000 Indian labourers arrived in Guyana, marking the birth of the Indo-Guyanese population. Despite these harsh circumstances, the indentured labourers clung to their cultural roots. They maintained their languages, religious practices, culinary traditions, and other.
and that's the difference. That's the difference. This is why the Indians in Guyana, and this is why I think they call it chutney. I'm not mistaken, chutney music. They still listen to the chutney music. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? They still be listening to, and those songs be a vibe. You feel me? Those songs be a vibe. Girl, you know I was a drinker. You always know I was a drinker. Oh, yeah. Girl, you know I was a. Alright, that song's just a vibe. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is the difference with us Africans. We never got to. I'm not fully African, but I say African because we all come. You feel me? We all come from Africa, bruh. Come on, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So they, the Indian. My bad. The Indian. Okay, hold on. Hmm. Let me sip this liquor water real quick, bro. The Indians kept their culture. We didn't keep our culture. So we got our culture transformed. They keep their culture. If you go to Guyana right now, you can't ask any Afro Guyanese, hey, what's your culture? What was your ancestors doing? Now they kept their stuff a lot. So now it's continuing. It's going. And most of them have even the same last names. They still have the old last names that they used to have. We don't even have the old last names you used to have. Names such as Lashley and Murray and all those were slave names given to us by our like by their masters and stuff. So we don't even keep our actual ordained like last names. They keep their last names. They keep their culture, and that's the difference, bro. I know I just yapped that out, but man, you feel me?
Aspects of their culture. Over time, this community became the Indo-Guyanese population, forming a significant part of the multicultural tapestry that is Guyana. However, the colonial powers fostered a system of segregation, keeping the Indo-Guyanese and Afro-Guyanese populations apart, often pitting them against each other. This divide-and-rule strategy laid the groundwork for the ethnic tensions we see in Guyana today. To understand the deep-seated ethnic tensions between the Indo-Guyanese and Afro-Guyanese populations, we must first understand what we mean by internalized racism. It's a form of racial oppression where marginalized racial groups believe, consciously or unconsciously, in the negative stereotypes about themselves that are propagated by the dominant society. Internalized racism is not a natural state of mind, but is learned and instilled over time.
Election season is here. Remember, who you vote for is secret. But whether you vote is public
They love
information.
these ads,
After
bro.
this election,
I have
your
like
voting
ever
record
since
will
I've
be
been on
updated,
YouTube, just
and your friends
straight
and family
this,
will be able
bro.
to look
Like,
up how often you vote. So vote on or by Tuesday, November 5th.
If you're not making $158,000 per year, but you'd like to, I strongly encourage you to start.
In Guyana, this was fostered through colonial rule, which imposed Western racial hierarchies and sought to divide the Indo-Guyanese and Afro-Guyanese populations. Arguably, the most striking manifestation of internalized racism in Guyana lies in the realm of politics. The political landscape of the country is deeply...
that's what I heard is true too. I think they have two different parties too. I think it's the PPP and the hey man, I forgot. I just be listening and listen, man.
Entwined with ethnic identity. The People's Progressive Party, or PPP, and the People's National Congress, PNC, are the two primary political entities. And their supporter bases? They predominantly fall along ethnic lines. The PPP is widely supported by the Indo-Guyanese, and the PNC by the Afro-Guyanese. To truly understand the root of political violence in Guyana, we must look back to the country's struggle for independence in the 1960s. An Indo-Guyanese leader, Chedi Jagan, emerged as a prominent figure during this time. He was a charismatic Marxist who attracted a large following and seemed poised for power. But his rise didn't go unnoticed. Declassified CIA documents revealed that the United States, fearing the establishment of a communist state in the Western Hemisphere during the height of the Cold War, instigated a campaign of civil unrest in Guyana to prevent Jagan from taking power.
I did not know that. If this is really true, I did not know that. The name of Guyana's current airport is Chedi Jagan, so they do give some respect to this guy, but they really did that because they were feared that Chedi Jagan was going to turn Guyana into a communist state? That is crazy, bro. The United States, listen, they smart. Yeah. Nah, that's a smart move. That's a smart move. I ain't gonna lie. Listen, that's check right there. You know what I'm saying? That's check right there. Almost checkmate.
Externally fueled campaign exacerbated existing ethnic tensions. It stirred the pot of civil unrest, and violence broke out between Afro-Guyanese and Indo-Guyanese communities, a division that was politically exploited.
Wow.
Fast forward to the early 2000s, a period marked by an upsurge in violence that left deep scars on Guyana's social fabric. In less than a decade, over 400 people, mostly Afro-Guyanese, lost their lives in brutal street battles. The violence wasn't random. It was fueled by criminal gangs, many of which were affiliated with the country's two main political parties. As these gangs battled each other, they also clashed with security forces, leading to a deadly and chaotic situation. In the wake of this turmoil, families were left grieving.
So the United States caused this? Let's just go back to what they said about the United States.
The establishment of a communist state in the Western Hemisphere during the height of the Cold War instigated a campaign of civil unrest in Guyana to the United States noticed. Declassified CIA documents revealed that the United States, fearing the establishment of a communist state in the Western Hemisphere during the height of the Cold War, instigated a campaign of civil unrest in Guyana.
Instigated a campaign of civil unrest in Guyana. So due to United States instigating, it leads to the separation between Afro-Guyanese and Indo-Guyanese. That is some crazy work.
to prevent Jagan from taking ethnic Afro-Guyana. Fast forward to Oz on Guyana's the Afro. It was fueled by criminal gangs. Many killed each other. They also clashed with security forces, leading to a deadly and chaotic situation. In the wake of this turmoil, families were left grieving, communities were shattered, and trust between the Indo-Guyanese and Afro-Guyanese communities further eroded. While the divide between the Afro-Guyanese and Indo-Guyanese populations is profound, it's important to remember that it doesn't define the entirety of Guyanese society. There are many individuals, communities, and organizations working tirelessly toward unity and reconciliation. At the grassroots level, we see community leaders fostering dialogues, organizing inter-ethnic cultural exchanges, and initiating projects that promote cooperation and understanding between the two ethnic communities. On a national scale, initiatives such as the Ethnic Relations Commission, established in the early 2000s, aim to promote harmony and good relations between ethnic groups. Furthermore, there are political leaders advocating for unity, challenging the status quo, and breaking free from the ethnic-based political pattern. And let's not forget the role of international organizations supporting peace-building efforts in Guyana. They provide resources, training, and support to local initiatives aiming to bridge the ethnic divide. In the younger generation, there's a sense of hope. With increasing intermarriage, global influences, and a growing consciousness about the need for unity, many young Guyanese are challenging old prejudices and working towards a future where ethnicity does not dictate destiny. While the road to unity is long and filled with obstacles, these concerted efforts give us a glimpse of what a united Guyana could look like. And while the past cannot be changed, the future can be shaped. Every day, in small ways and big, the people of Guyana are writing a new chapter for their country. Thank you for taking this journey with us today. We hope this deeper understanding of Guyana inspires you to think about the complexities of ethnic divisions, not just in Guyana but globally, and the possibilities that exist for unity and reconciliation.
This is real, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. This just literally just educating me because I ain't gonna lie. I always heard about Afro-Guyanese and Indo-Guyanese against each other a lot, so I always wondered why. But to come down to the basic point that the U.S. is a part of it, it's just crazy to me. Can't even wait to tell my dad about this. He probably doesn't even know that this is the reason why. I'm about to educate them because I just got educated. So for me, because a lot of us, a lot of people, they don't know what's the reason. I'm sure I can go ask most of my family Guyanese. They're just gonna be like, oh, I don't know. They just know it's going on, but they don't know the background to it. So at least I was educated on that on my part. That's crazy to me, though. That's OD.